Well, it's been a while and I've been busy. First of all, I have a printed circuit board. And I put some components in and it sort of worked. So here's one I built earlier. Most of it is kind of familiar from what was on the older board. So here's the FPGA plugged onto the back of the card. Here's an SD card. Here's the connection to the keyboard and to the monitor. We've got some LEDs on the front here now and some push buttons. This is the memory. Connectors over here, laid out in the same way as on a NASCOM 2. We've got a PIO which is going to that connector, and also there's a CTC on here, which of course there wasn't on a NASCOM 2, and a connector for that. And all of this stuff in the middle is a floppy disk controller, and these components here are level shifters for the translation between the 3.3 volt domain and the IO subsystem here, which is a 5 volt domain. So if you the minimal build for this is simply the daughter card here and a bunch of passive connectors. You don't need any of the components over on this right hand side. So when we if we look at the monitor, if we just turn this on and press the reset button, nothing happens because there's no SD card fitted. I just pulled it out. But if we press the middle button, which is the warm reset button, then it powers up in its minimum configuration. So the NAS/sys ROM code is stored in the FPGA, and it's got the video memory and the workspace memory are all implemented in the FPGA. So from here, and using the keyboard, I can examine the ROM code of the monitor and do any of the things that you could do on a minimal NASCOM. There's the NAS/sys prompt. Now, if I put the SD card in, and now I press the cold reset, then I get to the boot monitor, the boot window, which we saw previously on the prototype system. And if I now select one of the options, so I'll press F, then I'm running ASBUG 4. Now, the change that I've got now with the 2 reset buttons is if I now press the warm reset, it will restart exactly in the same configuration as I'm in here. So if I was doing something and I'd written the program and the machine locked up, and I pressed the cold reset button, it would take me back to the boot menu. But by pressing the warm reset pressing the warm reset button, it takes me back into NASBUG 4. So it pretends when you use the warm reset button, it's as though you've got a dedicated configuration that will always return to when you press that button. The other new button on the front here, this button is the non-maskable interrupt. So all of the NASCOM monitors used the non-maskable interrupt for single step operation, and when you press the button you can generate a non-maskable interrupt, and it will show you where you are in the program. So for example, if I was if I have a little program here, so this is stepping through my little program. It's going around in a loop. Now if I execute that program and it's gone somewhere mad, if I press non-maskable interrupt, it takes me back to the command prompt. Now if I do a cold reset, I'll get back to the menu, and just as before, I can start up any of these different environments straight from here. So if I press H, then I can start up BASIC. So that's the basic operation. Once you've got the SD card in, you get the menu. Once you've got a memory chip in there, you've got enough memory to run BASIC, and you can do all of the things that that I've shown here. So that's all for this session.